everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. And today, I wanted to set out to make a returner's guide, if you will. Now, you've likely seen a lot of these types of videos on your feed the past few days, so I apologize to add on to the pile. I have been working on this since this past weekend though, and honestly, I think a lot of Division creators are thinking along the same lines right now. This past week, we saw insane numbers of people pouring into the Division 2. Steam doubled its all-time highest player peak, and that platform is only a representative of a minority of the PC audience alone. The Division 2 is on people's minds. Players are excited for the future. Now, had I had the foresight to predict this huge surge, maybe I could have started working a few months ago to prepare a complete beginner guide for the game. At the depth I try and achieve with those types of videos, that's how long it takes me. In case you're watching this and you're brand new to the Division 2, I do highly recommend my most recent complete beginner's guide to the game. It's about a year and a half old, but the vast majority of the information in there is still up to date and relevant, so I'll have that be the first link down in the description below. But in lieu of that, since I couldn't pump another one of those out, I figured I would narrow the scope a little bit, because I know that many of these players coming into the game, many of you watching this video, have played this before. You hit the end game years ago, you know what a specialization is, you've got your Shade Watch. So instead of going through each and every end game system the Division 2 has to offer, I figured let's cut straight to what returning players want to know. What's changed and what should I focus on while playing? That is what we're going to answer today. I've got a list of 5 things that should offer you clarity and guidance on how the Division 2 has evolved in recent years and what is worth spending your time on in the endgame. So we'll jump right in. But if you enjoy this one and you want to see more from me on the Division 2 moving forward, then be sure to subscribe. A huge shout out and thank you to our channel members. As always, your support towards me each and every month is in turn supporting my ability to make videos like these and help people who are coming back to the game. So thank you so much for your contributions. But without further ado, let's jump into this rundown. Okay, to begin, I want to talk about the seasonal journey. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at a couple of seasons-related features, as Seasons 2.0, which added this, was one of the most transformative periods the game went through in the past few years. And if you have not played since it was released, then understanding these systems is quite important. The seasonal journey can be found by entering your menu, clicking on the Seasons menu on the right side, and then tabbing over to the Journey category. Now, the seasonal journey serves two main purposes. For one, it educates you, in essence, about the current update and season in which you're playing. Now, this current anniversary update we're in as of the making of this video is not the best example, as this is a special shortened season. The objectives are a bit quicker and more generalized to appeal to the wider player base. But in a traditional season, the journey has 7 to 8 full pages of objectives tailored to that specific update. For instance, if we have seasonal modifiers revolving around utilizing an NPC companion, like we did last season, then the journey guided you through unlocking the companion and trying out each of the 3 classes that it offered. If a particular season introduces a new game mode, like Retaliations that we got a few months back, then that season's journey heavily revolved around you playing and learning the ins and outs of that mode. Then, the second main point of relevance for the seasonal journey are the rewards. These are worth your time to pursue. Primarily, they offer great bundles of season XP to progress your season pass and score some of the latest weapons and gear, but additionally, you will also earn valuable caches as you go, including but not limited to exotic caches. So, both as a way to score some quick rewards upon your return, but also as a way to find easy in-game guidance as to what is new with the latest update. Right, you don't have to go to YouTube and listen to my annoying voice explain it to you. The journey is a fantastic place to start upon freshly booting up the game. Next, I want to highlight priority objectives, yet another new feature introduced with Seasons 2.0. The beauty of these is that if you sign on to the game, you see a map full of objectives and exclamation points, you have no idea where to begin. These say, hey, go here, do this, get this reward. It's great. So once again, you're going to want to enter your seasons menu, then tab to the priority objective category, and you're met with 3 encrypted objectives. The information given is what category of content the objective will be, whether that be a main mission, in PvP, etc., as well as what relative duration of time the activity will take to complete. The great thing is that these are relevant regardless of what content you like to play. If you only like to run missions, great. If you're an open world addict, it's got you covered. Maybe you're a DZ fiend, you can quickly run through those objectives. Each completed priority objective gives a nice bump to your season XP, but more importantly, it also offers its own distinct reward. This can come in the form of material bundles, which offer quite good values, XP, even exotic items. So these are really a no-brainer, right? You can layer them atop whatever you are already playing for even more rewards, or you can let them guide you towards what content you want to engage with if you log on and just feel aimless. That then takes us to events. Unlike in years past, in the past 12 to 18 months, The Division 2 has become a highly event-centric game. These days, there is almost always some kind of event running, and they are worthwhile to engage with nearly every time. Doing so can hasten your progression significantly. So, when you first log on, no matter how long of a break it has been since you last played, it is advised that you enter your season's menu, tab all the way over to the events timeline, and as the name suggests, this will show you each active event as well as all of the upcoming ones that have been added to the timeline thus far. For instance, I get questions all the time. What is the fastest way to rank up my shade level? What is the best expertise farming method? And while there are legitimate answers to each of those questions, another factor to consider is that would you rather farm SHD levels at their base rate or when there is a 5x XP event active? At the time of me making this video, we just had a 5x XP event this past week. There's a 3x expertise proficiency event beginning later this week. There's a countdown event coming up where there are double token drops from that. We also have periodic stat events. If you're really wanting to farm harder content for a rare exotic drop, maybe you want to play during Redline Overdrive to get that extra boost needed to clear the content. The use cases are going to be different for each of you playing, as everyone last played at different points and you may need different things, but if you're able to structure your playtime and farming around whatever slate of events may be coming up when you boot up the game, you're going to get far more bang for your buck and save time in the long run. As a little bonus point here though, I'm sure some people are screaming, well, what are the best SHD and expertise farms? Everyone out there has got a different method. I will share with you what I personally used when grinding each. For SHD levels, you're going to want to turn your world difficulty as high as you can comfortably handle, ideally challenging or heroic. You're then going to want to enable as many directives as you are comfortable playing with. The goal is to be efficient, but not die every single time. After that, you're going to want to go after either public execution or propaganda broadcast open world activities. The faster you can travel between these and get them done, the more XP you're gonna get. Also, bonus tip, if you're into PvP, playing the conflict game mode is a fantastic way to level as well. Now, as for expertise, the way I went about it is to equip a build with as many non-proficient items as possible, that being because you earn passive proficiency as you play with those items equipped. Then you're gonna want to ensure that you have at least 40 to 50 free slots in your backpack. Then go ahead and queue into the countdown game mode, ideally on challenging difficulty. Be sure to set your targeted loot for the mode to a category in which you still need a lot of levels for. Let's say a bunch of your pistols are not proficient, select that. As you play through the mode, pick up all of the loot that drops on the ground as junk. Then, once you're done, go in and use the button to donate all junk for proficiency gain, and rinse and repeat. So, those are my recommendations for farming those two sources of progression, but do either of those during a respective XP event, and you're going to progress very, very quickly. Next up, let's then talk about Retaliations, one of the most key pieces of content added in the past few updates. Now, if you've played or even just followed along with The Division 2 in the past 4 or so years, you've likely heard about Countdown at some point. Countdown, added back in 2022, was for a long time considered the far and away most efficient, best farming spot in the entire game. And while Countdown's relevance has not been nerfed or diminished in any way, with the introduction of Retaliations last year, we finally received a competitor. And in particular, Retaliations are incredibly useful in allowing new and returning players to catch up in terms of unlocks and progression on top of scoring tons of loot. So I absolutely wanted to highlight it here. Similar to the bounty system, Retaliations are a game mode layer atop the open world. They can be found within your map tabs. Once here, you'll find circular progression bars for each of the game's factions. You can also tab to the New York factions if you want to play on the DLC maps. The way this works is that completing any content for the associated faction, so that includes main missions, other open world activities, etc., that will fill this agitation meter. Once that is full, that specific enemy faction then invades a named zone of your current map. Upon returning to this menu, you can then trigger the Retaliation, where you will need to retake each of the zone's control points before the timer on screen runs out. There are a few added layers on top of that, but that is the gist. Now, On the one hand, this mode allows you to select your own targeted loot, much the same as Countdown does, and while it does not 100% match Countdown's quantity of drops, it does come very close. But the other important bit is that Retaliations allows for you to quickly farm for a variety of high-end and exotic blueprints. I actually made a dedicated video to this subject very recently. I will link that down below. I recommend checking it out for greater detail and a deep dive on all of the systems here. But all too often I get questions about what is the best way to get X, Y, or Z exotic, and for the majority of them that is going to be from Retaliations, given that you have a chance to get them as a world drop from targeted loot or to receive their blueprints, which are only available in this mode. So between scoring those, unlocking a variety of gear and mod blueprints, and scoring huge bundles of targeted loot as you go, Retaliations are one of the very best ways to spend your time as a returning player. Oh, and pro tip, there is a daily project which lets you quickly max out one faction's agitation meter and launch straight into a retaliation, so be sure to utilize that. Speaking of which, at last but not least, we have to shout out projects. Now, projects are not new to the game. They've been around since launch. If you played back then, maybe you remember them, but a handful of updates ago, they did receive a light rework that greatly increased their relevance and rewards. There's not too much to explain here. You open up your map, you tab the projects, and here you will find daily and weekly objectives for content across the game. Completing these objectives then nets you bonus rewards. The main thing to highlight here is that whether it is a daily project awarding you an exotic component, a weekly one granting you huge chunks of season XP, layering project progress atop everything else that we've covered in this video is only going to help you progress and catch up even faster, right? Let's say there's a scenario where there's an event running for a particular mode, let's say Countdown, you receive bonus currency if you go and play that. If you can then activate a priority objective that asks you to complete 2 Countdown objectives, maybe you then have a seasonal journey objective asking you to do a Countdown run, then a project telling you to go in there as well. Actually, I don't think Countdown is a part of any projects, but you get my point. Stacking as many of these objectives and systems as you play is only going to save you time in the long run. Plus, it's quite satisfying to get like 10 things checked off your list from one playthrough of whatever content you may be doing. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are my top 5 tips and systems I recommend paying the most attention to in-game as a returning player. I know that there is a lot of this kind of content out there online to consume, including guides from myself that go into far more detail on each and every in-game system. Hopefully, the people who need that information can navigate to the proper sources. But in this, I really just wanted to cut straight down to the most need-to-know info for those of you who are simply trying to jump back in. So, for those of you out there, I hope this is helpful. I hope it was informative. At this point, feel free to let me know any thoughts you may have about your return to the game, any outstanding questions you may still have after listening through. Happy to provide any and all guidance as I can, and I'm sure plenty of other veterans watching this will be happy to as well. But that's about all I've got for today. Welcome back to the Division 2 if you are indeed returning. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you back soon. Until then, RogueGold. Ow. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go.
And